Your golfing buddy Bobby Lopez here, and either I've landed on a stroke of genius. I got this idea last night, or I'm full of crap and it's no big deal anyway. So the latter's probably closest of the two, but it hit me. Doing this all day long like I do. Can you chase a swing fault to a fault? And you end up on that merry-go-round forever without the real results you were looking for in the first place. Sure, there are certain fundamentals of the golf swing. Sure, there are certain paths that the golf club should take. And of course, it's indisputable that the club face angle has to be, somewhere relative to that path. But do they have to be perfect? Are we chasing a perfection that you're never going to get to anyway? And is it that the better players learn to manage the swing fault that they have? Because they all got swing faults. I'm going to show you Jack Nicklaus right here. And I mean, nobody won more major tournaments than Jack Nicklaus. And even the things that he claims he has worked on really hard, he doesn't really do. I mean, the video doesn't lie. And here's a guy who was a real stickler about fundamentals and alignment and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, he's got the straight left arm with the left arm, blah, blah, blah. He's got some tilt, So many of us copy putting his head back over here. You look at Bernhardt, which I'm going to show you in a second. Gene Sowers, a bunch of guys that all grew up in that era like myself. And, we all look back like Nicklaus did. Now, Nicklaus said he was a stickler for got to keep your head still. The Jack Druga used to grab him by the hair and whatever. Well, he still got hair, so it didn't hurt him that bad. But watch what he does. He lifts up and out of the spine angle. That's a no-no. Not as a no-no, but he kept his head perfectly still, of course. But of course, you got to keep in mind, his head was already set up behind the golf ball in the first place. Now, those of you that are trying to keep your head still and you started off with your head over the top of the ball, you're really in trouble. Sure, he kept his head still, but at least he had his head behind the ball in the first place. But wait till you see what happens next. Watch this. On the downswing, watch what he does. Because he knows this is the line of scrimmage. See, right here is the line of scrimmage. You can't pass that line of scrimmage with your left shoulder. Let me see if I can get this line actually straight. Good thing I'm doing this in the morning. Right. He's got from here to there to square up this golf club. Why? Because he has his head here. Now, if we go to somebody like Perks here, and then we put the line of scrimmage where it's supposed to be. Am I going this way, that way? What do I need to do to make this line perfectly straight? There we go. Now watch. Because his head moved back, he'll have a little more tilt, and he has more time to square up the club before he gets to the line of scrimmage. Capiche? What does Jack do? Now, whether he does this instinctively, whether he did it on purpose, see? But some of you might think, oh, well, I have to sort of back up on the downswing because I have to in order to hit the ball square. Yeah, no kidding. Nicklaus had to. Watch. Here's the guy that told you to keep your head still. Don't move your head. Watch. Don't move your head. Don't move your head. See, he's trying to line up the tip of this left shoulder with that golf ball because that is impact. Unfortunately, we don't land right on it right there, but you'll see it over here. See, his left shoulder will not pass, or the armpit of his left arm will not pass that line, or you're offsides. So Nicklaus, look at how much he backs up. Look at how much he backs up. I don't want to say who it was, but I had a very well-known, very successful touring professional tell me, he says, well, I feel like I have to work back up. So yeah, you have to back up. With your swing, you need to back up. Is that necessarily bad? I don't know. Would Nicklaus have been better had he done what Perks does and lets his head go this way? Look at Rieger. Now, he's nowhere near as successful. You might not even heard of him. He had to go to tour school this week on the senior tour. See? Now, here's somebody that didn't have to go to tour school. And look what he does. But what did he do? He grew up in the Nicklaus era. Now, let's see if he backs up. Now, we can't count this in a way because the camera's moving, but if we look at this sign right here that's behind his head, you see his head backing up. Why? So he can get the tip of his left shoulder and the ball all on a straight line at impact. Now here's the same player. See, it's 1, 2, 5, 3, 7. Where did it go? It's 1, 2, 5, 3, 7. Where did it go? Hello? 1, 2, 5, 3, 2. It must have changed numbers. How could it change numbers? There it is. There it is. 1, 2, 5, 3, 7. Now, look at that at the top. This is a year's difference. Look at this at the top. I would say this has more tilt than this does. And let's see if his head goes backwards. Hello. But what did we end up with? So does it matter? Let's look at this. Let's look at Bernhard. Oh, Bernhard. Boy, I tell you, I take my hat off to him. Holy cow. I knew him when I was 22, 23. He was around 16. And I'll tell you what he turned out to be and what he's done physically. He's so much bigger than he was then. And he's, see, now look at the difference, see? What did he do? He grew up in the Nicklaus age, just like me, right? They all wanted to copy Nicklaus. Look at this. He's copying Nicklaus. See? So, we'd have to say, would Bernhard have been better had he had some tilt over here and his head over here at the top of the backswing? A la Benny Crenshaw? Would that make so much of a significant difference that Bernhard would have won 4 Masters instead of 3 or whatever the heck he is he won? Or 3 rather than 2 or whatever it was? Or is it that he's learned, and here's a more recent picture, he's learned, see? Whether it was through instinct or whether it was on purpose, that he had to go backwards because he had to get to a point where the tip of his left shoulder to the ball is in a straight line, because that is the line of scrimmage and you can't be offsides. So then the question is it that the guys that are really great know how to manage? In other words, there are swing faults that you got to get rid of because you got no choice. In other words, you've got to be able to make a list and say, look, I got X, Y, Z swing fault, and this has got to go away. What do we need to do to get rid of it? And you hammer it into submission until it goes away. You're never cured. You're in remission. It'll come back and bite you when you least expect it. Or is it that you have certain swing faults that you can adjust a little and make them a little better than they were? but not necessarily going to go away totally. Look at this right here, and look at this right here. Now here's the weird thing. When this gentleman played in the U.S. Open that year, he lost in the playoff. Now he's won it. But is it that made the change, or is it just you keep plugging, you keep plugging, you keep plugging, and you finally have your week? Now, it might be that a swing fault can cause you to have inconsistencies that could frustrate the crap out of you. But look, Nicklaus, he either learned, or let's look at Furyk. Furyk has either learned to handle his swing faults or swing idiosyncrasies to where he can repeat it on a regular basis. It might be he doesn't stress his swing by putting undue pressure on it to make it do something it can't do. Maybe it's things like that that the successful player does better than the unsuccessful player. See? It's knowing how to manage your golf swing and knowing how to keep it operating in a manner to where you keep moving the ball onto the short grass, because I've become thoroughly convinced that hitting the ball in the rough is a one-stroke penalty that is recoverable. If you hit the ball in the water, it's a one-stroke penalty and you're done. There's not a darn thing you can do about it. You don't get to hit shot number 2. That's the penalty stroke. Now you're hitting shot number 3. If you hit the ball in the rough, you do get to hit shot number 2, but what are your chances of getting that ball anywhere near the hole? So you've just taken birdie off the table, unless you got a pretty decent lie out of that rough, and the rough's not that severe. But if the rough's rough, you got a one-stroke penalty that might be recoverable in the sense that maybe you can bop it out and knock it about 50 yards short of the green, knock it up there 4 feet and make it. So you saved the penalty stroke, but you didn't make birdie. So you've got to have a swing that can move the ball onto the short grass on a regular basis. You're never going to be perfect. It's like you're never going to hit a ball in the rough again. But you've got to build a swing motion that is somewhat repeatable. And we already know that there are certain moves, and that's my job or whoever you're doing lessons with, to be able to pinpoint, you see that? See what you're doing right there? There's a problem. Because that right there is very difficult to recover from. Any swing fault that is recoverable, you could say, well, do we want to manage this? Is it that it's so natural to you that you can't help but do this? Okay? And you're going to see some of these swings, they're not all perfect. Look at Fowler here. Look at this. And he's changed this a lot, I think, since this picture. See? Look how he takes this club back this way. Ooh, marron. Now, how many people would tell you, hey, listen, I want you to take the club back that flat behind you? But what does he do? He gets rid of those arms so fast. Look at that, see? He doesn't turn his chest. He's pulling down on the rope. Bang, see? His chest is staying still. Look at him fire those hands. Boom! So he makes up for it. Ray Floyd. You want to see a backswing? Wait till you see this. Here goes Ray Floyd. Look at that. He always used to do this. See? Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Come on. Go ahead. Dance. Dance. Dance, Ray. See? Look at him take that club back where he does. Look at that. But then watch him fix it on the way down. See? See? Comes right down the plane. So he fixed it on the way down. So what would you say? Hey, Ray Floyd, you need to change that backswing or you got no chance. Or you say, well, if you got good control of that and you can maintain it, and now you make good decisions on the golf course and you keep taking the right club out of the bag to hit, and you're good at reading defense, which means reading the golf course, knowing where the ball should go, great putter, blah, 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 all the kind of stuff that goes with being a really good golfer. Okay, so you got a little swing fault. What's the big deal? We can work around that. Because sometimes, which is the purpose of this entire video, you can chase a swing fault to a fault And you build your whole world around thinking, once I get this swing fault change, that's it. I'm going to be an under par golfer every time. That might not be necessarily true. Look at Garcia. Got the most lag. Is that done him any good? How many majors has he got? Considering how good he really is. Look at how he played in that Ryder Cup. That was unbelievable. But why does he have that? Because his old man, when he was a little kid, told him pull down on a chain with both hands. And he listened to his dad. And he took it serious. And his dad said a chain, not a piece of string. So that, gave you a visual in your mind. You had to really pull hard because it was a chain, una cadena, he said. What goes in your mind from what you're being told is two different things. That's why I hear so much about, the bump of the hips, the bump of the hips. Well, where's the bump of the hips here? Where's the bump of the hips? His hip is clearing. Look, his left hip is turning away. If you got to bump the hips too much, you must be shut, like Billy Casper. And you're trying to block the closed club face. Otherwise, these guys turn today. Yeah, they got a little bit of a bump, but it's not to the point where you're going to be Bruce Flesher. Here's Bruce Flesher. Watch what he does. See, he really pops that hip out right there. And he's got to stay down with it the whole time, because if you don't, see? But he doesn't have a perfect swing. When we were kids, we thought he was going to be the next Jack Nicklaus. And he's a heck of a nice guy. And he was a heck of a player, boy. Let me tell you, when he was in college, he beat everybody. Unbelievable. It's like every time he stuck the tee in the ground, he shot 65. He was really, really, really good. He was one of Miami's best players to come out of there. All right, so hopefully this will help you. How's it going to help you? I say this, that you make the simplest swing you could make with the least amount of motion and concentrate on the path of the golf club and impact. Get to impact. You need to know where you are at impact. If you don't know, send me a video of your swing. The first one's always free. Just send it and I'll look at it. You say, okay, if impact is messed up, and it's not quite right, you're flipping the hands, you turn, you do this and that, yeah. You got to follow the trail back and say, okay, what is it that kept me from getting to the proper impact position? What is it that I do that prohibits me from getting there? It might not be serious. It might not be as bad as you think. And then the problem is you end up trying 15 different things and you screw yourself up even worse. You got to figure out, okay, what is it that's doing that? And if that's the case, what do we need to do about it? Usually you're not putting something in, you're taking something out. What is it that you're doing that you need to stop doing so that you can get the club to impact? Another way to look at it, let's say you get the impact, but we both look at this video and say, hey, you know what, that's a weird way to get there. I don't know how you pulled that off. Is there a way to maintain that? Let's pretend we were talking to Jim Furyk. If Jim Furyk came to me and he says, hey, listen, I want you to look at my swing. I said, okay, let me see. I'd look at this and I'd go, then I'd turn off the microphone and start laughing. Then I said, when I put the microphone back on, okay, let me see. What can we do for this character here? And the one thing I would look at right away, I say, okay, well, his arms go all over carnation, but let's see what his spine does. Oh, stays real still. I say, darn, that's pretty darn good. Look at that. The arms floundering all over the place is a distraction. He maintains the spine angle perfectly, and that's what you're trying to do. You're just trying to maintain this 90-degree relationship, just like this stupid machine right here. Right here. Where'd it go? Here it is. Just like this stupid machine. Look at this. A perfect 90-degree relationship. See? It's just inside the ball because the club head goes out this way, right? Here's the spine, here's your body, here's your feet. And guess what? None of it moves. Couldn't be easier. Couldn't be easier. Because there's no way the club can get off path because you don't move. So the less you move, the less chance the club gets off path. All right? I hope this helps you. If you're wondering whether your swing has some faults that can be managed or has some faults that need to be eliminated or replaced, just send me your video. It's not hard. Go out and get your cell phone and let me put my email right here. There you go. And just attach it to the email. You know, and off it goes. I'll get it, and I'd be happy to do the whole analysis and send it back to you. And I'll tell you, so look, here's what's wrong with you. Blah, 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 blah. Or guess what? It's perfect. Don't worry about it. Go play golf. Work on other things. That's the one thing I really like working on, is getting past the golf swing and start working on the psychology of golf and making better decisions and learning how to read the defense. Great quarterbacks can read the defense. Well, you got to be able to read the defense. You got to know what that golf course is, the designer is trying to do to you. What was he thinking when he built this thing? Why does he make the ball bounce off to the right? Why did he make the fairway with that kind of curvature? All kinds of stuff. And how to handle yourself mentally. All right? Hope this helps you. Send me your video if you haven't already. Good luck. Play some good golf, will you?